Let me ask you something. When you look in the mirror, are you proud of what you see? I'm not talking about your face. I'm talking about your habits, your energy, your consistency, your decisions, your standards, your life. You see, we all carry something we know we need to fix. And not next week, not next year, now. That relationship that's been drifting, that body that's been neglected, that mind that's full of noise, excuses, and delays, that dream you keep saying you'll chase when the time is right, well, guess what? The time is never going to be right. You make it right. You decide. You fix it now. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't wait. Your potential doesn't wait. Your soul doesn't wait. But your excuses do. They wait for every moment of weakness. They whisper tomorrow when what you need is right now. You already know what needs to be done. You already feel that fire inside that says, I'm made for more. But you've trained yourself to ignore it, to scroll past it, to distract yourself from it. Let me tell you something. The longer you ignore what you need to fix, the louder your life starts screaming at you. Your body breaks down, your confidence slips away, your relationships suffer, your career stalls, your passion fades, and then one day, you wake up wondering where it all went. But let's not talk about someday. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about the power of now. Because right now, this second, while your heart is beating and your lungs are breathing and your mind is alive, this is your moment to step up. You want change? Then stop tolerating what you've been tolerating. Raise your standards. You've been living too small, thinking too small, acting too small. That version of you that's been drifting through life, distracted, disconnected, disappointed, that version is not who you are. It's just who you've been choosing to be. Let's get something straight. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not unlucky. You're just stuck in patterns you've allowed to grow stronger than your desire to break free. But today we shatter those patterns. We shake the system. We wake the hell up. Fix it now. If your health is off track, fix it now. Stop saying, I'll start Monday. No more. After the holidays. Grab your shoes, drink that water, move your body. Your future depends on it. If your finances are a mess, fix it now. No more blaming the economy. No more waiting for the perfect job or that big break. Get resourceful. Get disciplined. Learn. Build. Save. Hustle. If your relationship is falling apart, fix it now. Don't wait for the other person to change. Don't wait for an apology. Be the leader. Speak from the heart. Forgive. Love. Fight for it. If your dreams are buried under self-doubt, fix it now. Dig them up, dust them off, and go. It doesn't matter if you're scared. Move forward with the fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more. And if your mind is full of clutter, anxiety, and pain, fix it now. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Don't run. Don't run from it. Don't run. Don't run from it. Face it. Heal. Talk. Write. Meditate. Get help if you need it. The strongest people are the ones who admit when they need to rebuild. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need all the answers. You just need to say 3 words out loud, with force, with conviction. Fix it now. Let those words be your fuel. Let them carry you into uncomfortable actions. Let them push you to say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, and be who you know you are meant to be. Because every second you delay, you lose momentum. And momentum is everything. You want to know the secret to success, the secret to greatness, the secret to fulfillment? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not waiting for the universe to align. It's this. You act before you're ready. You speak before you're comfortable. You jump before you're sure. And you fix it before it falls apart. This is your moment. This is the shift. Right here, right now. No one is coming to save you. No one owes you a better life. But the incredible news, you've had the power to create it all along. Fix it now and watch your life transform. The future you want is not in the distance. It's on the other side of the decision you make today. Are you ready to stop complaining, blaming, procrastinating? Are you ready to stop pretending you're fine when you're not? Then grab the wheel, take back control, and make this the day you remember forever, the day it all changed. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for signs. Be the sign. Be the spark. Be the change. Fix it now. You don't need more time. You need a decision. How many times have you told yourself that you'll do it tomorrow? That you'll start next week? That you're just waiting for the right moment? That you need to think about it a little more, plan a little better, get a little more clarity? That lie, that time is what you lack, is what's keeping you stuck in the same cycle. The truth is, time is not your problem. Time has never been your problem. It's your decision making. It's the hesitation. It's the fear wrapped up in the disguise of being careful. You don't need more hours in the day. You need a single moment where you say, I'm done waiting. You need that spark where something inside you clicks and says, this is it. No more excuses. No more delay. Because that moment is all it takes to shift the entire trajectory of your life. That moment of decision is where your new future begins. It's not about how many resources you have. It's not about what's missing. It's about what you decide to do with what's already in your hands. When you make a real decision, a decision where there is no turning back, your mind shifts, your emotions align, your body gets to work. A true decision cuts off all other options. It's not a wish, it's not a hope, it's a command to yourself. You stop asking for permission and you start owning your power. You don't need to know every step. You just need to choose that the current version of your life is no longer acceptable. That the person you've been is no longer enough for the future you want. When that decision is made, you'll find the energy, you'll find the time, you'll find the strategies, because you're no longer half in, you're all in. But most people wait, they think clarity will come before the choice. They want certainty before commitment. But life doesn't work that way. Clarity comes after commitment. Certainty is born from action. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every success story begins at the same point. Someone made a decision. A firm, no going back decision. And in that instant, they stopped negotiating with their potential. They stopped making deals with their limitations. They stopped giving power to their excuses. They looked at their life, their habits, their fears, their patterns, and they drew a line in the sand. You don't need more research. You don't need more opinions. You don't need more scrolling, more waiting, more signs from the universe. You need a line in the sand. A commitment that says, I decide now. I fix it now. The people who create real change in their lives are not always the most talented or the most intelligent. They're the ones who decide fast and move forward. They're the ones who understand that indecision is the killer of momentum, that waiting is just another word for wasting. So ask yourself, what have you been putting off under the illusion of not having enough time? What dream have you buried under the weight of hesitation? What standard have you lowered because you haven't committed fully to raising it? You know the truth. Deep down, you know exactly what you need to do. And the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is a decision. One decision. A real one. Not a soft maybe, not a hopeful someday. A decision that wakes something up in you. A decision that says enough is enough. Because once you decide, life starts moving with you. You feel it in your breath, in your posture, in the way you walk into the room. You stop looking back, you stop doubting. You step into that version of you who doesn't just dream about change, you become the person who demands it. What you tolerate, you live. What you demand, you become. Your life at this very moment is a reflection of what you've decided is acceptable. Every habit, every relationship, every result you see around you is something you've either chosen, allowed, or tolerated. Most people don't realize that tolerating mediocrity, toxic environments, weak discipline, or average effort is not just a passive act. It's a decision. You're deciding every day that this is okay, that this is enough, that this is your standard. And the brutal truth is, your standards shape your life more than your goals ever will. Everyone wants success, love, energy, freedom, but very few people demand it from themselves. They wish for it, they talk about it, they even post about it, but they don't live it. Because to live it, you have to refuse to accept anything less. You have to reach a point where the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the discomfort of change. That's when you shift. That's when your identity evolves. That's when you stop bending to your circumstances and start bending your life to your decisions. When you raise your standards, everything around you either rises to meet them or falls away. The people who drain you disappear. The habits that once numbed you become intolerable. The excuses that once sounded reasonable suddenly disgust you. Because you've changed the rules of the game. You're no longer playing to avoid losing, you're playing to dominate, to build, to expand, to win. And this doesn't mean being arrogant, it means being honest. Honest about what you want. Honest about what you're no longer willing to accept. Honest about the gap between your potential and your performance. You can't demand excellence and tolerate laziness. You can't demand passion and tolerate indifference. You can't demand progress and tolerate procrastination. You have to align your demands with your actions. And that starts with deciding what's non-negotiable. What are the new rules? What are the new boundaries? What will you no longer tolerate from yourself, from your surroundings, from your thoughts? This is where your identity shifts. Not in the big external wins, but in the quiet, fierce, internal decisions. In the moment you say, I won't live like this anymore. That's the real turning point. Because when you demand more from yourself, your life has no choice but to rise. You start showing up differently. You speak with more certainty. You think with more clarity. You act with more intensity, and others feel that. The world responds to people who know what they stand for, who walk into a room and raise the temperature, who don't ask for permission to grow, but give themselves full authority to evolve. Most people think their environment defines their standards, but it's the other way around. You define your environment by the level of standards you hold yourself to. If you're surrounded by chaos, drama, or failure, look at what you've been tolerating. Look at what you've allowed to exist without confronting it. Look at the conversations you've avoided, the behaviors you've excused, the standards you've softened. Your life doesn't get better by chance. It It gets better by choice. And every choice is either a reinforcement of an old standard or the beginning of a new one. You're not stuck. You're just living what you've allowed. You're not lost. You're just surrounded by things that no longer match who you're becoming. The moment you stop tolerating average, average starts to disappear. And when you start demanding greatness, greatness begins to appear. Momentum doesn't come from motivation, it comes from action. Everyone waits for the feeling before they make the move. They wait for the perfect moment when they're inspired, when they're ready, when everything feels right. But waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow in your favor. You can't control when it shows up, how strong it is, or how long it lasts. But you can control move. You can control action. You can get up, take the step, make the call, hit the gym, write the page, build the habit, whether you feel like it or not. That's where real momentum begins. It doesn't start with a spark, it starts with a push. It starts in that exact moment when your mind says no, but you say yes anyway. When you override hesitation with forward motion. Action creates results. Results create evidence, builds belief. And belief fuels drive. It's a cycle that starts with one simple choice. Do something. Do it tired, do it scared, do it unsure, but do it. Because action beats thinking every time. You can think your way into 1,000 doubts. You can overanalyze, over-prepare, overcomplicate, but nothing changes until you move. Momentum is built in the doing. One decision at a time, one uncomfortable moment at a time, one promise kept to yourself at a time. That's how you create power. Not in giant leaps, but in consistent movement. Even the smallest action repeated becomes unstoppable over time. Think about water hitting a rock. One drop means nothing. But over time, that consistent force breaks through. That's what action does. It cuts through resistance. It silences doubt. It builds trust in yourself. The more you act, the more you feel capable. The more capable you feel, the more confident you become. And that confidence turns into momentum, and momentum turns into transformation. But it never begins with motivation. Motivation is a side effect, not a starting point. You earn motivation by proving to yourself that you're not waiting around anymore, that you've taken control, that you've decided progress matters more than perfection. The problem is most people confuse activity with action. Activity is being busy. Action is being intentional. Action is making progress that counts. Not scrolling, not planning endlessly, not talking about what you'll do someday. Real action means results. It means getting uncomfortable. It means doing what you said you do, even when every part of you wants to quit. That's how momentum is born. It's not always loud. It doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes momentum feels like waking up early when you want to sleep in. Sometimes it feels like going to the gym when your legs are sore. Sometimes it's picking up the phone and having the tough conversation. Sometimes it's just choosing not to break the promise you made to yourself yesterday. Every time you act, you plant a seed of momentum. It might feel invisible at first, but it's growing, it's compounding, and eventually it breaks through, and when it does, it moves fast. It becomes force. It becomes rhythm. It becomes who you are. You don't wait for the perfect energy. You create it. You don't wait for the emotion. You generate it. You stop looking outside for the push, and you become your own fire. Because the moment you realize action is the source of all progress, all power, all possibility, that's the moment everything begins to change. Your future is created by what you fix, not what you postpone. Every time you delay action, you're not just pausing growth, you're quietly giving permission for problems to grow stronger roots. The longer you ignore what's broken, the more it defines your life. People think time heals, but time only heals what you confront. What you avoid compounds. Whether it's a broken habit, a broken mindset, or a broken relationship, nothing fixes itself through waiting. There's a cost to every delay. The missed opportunities, the stolen confidence, the quiet self-betrayal. Every day you postpone the work is a day you drift further from the future you say you want. Because the future isn't some distant moment waiting to arrive. It's shaped moment by moment, choice by choice, fix by fix. Every day you postpone the work is a day you drift further from the future you say you want. Because the future isn't some distant moment waiting to arrive. It's shaped by the feeling that you get from fixing it now. Fixing it different. Growth doesn't come from the goals you set. It comes from the wounds you clean, the gaps you close, and the truths you stop running from. You can write all the vision boards, affirm all the dreams, journal all the intentions, but if you don't start fixing what's holding you back, none of that matters. That clutter in your mind, that chaos in your life, that resistance in your spirit, it doesn't go away with time. It goes away with work. You're not behind because of a lack of talent. You're behind because of things you've left unfixed. And deep down, you know exactly what they are. The conversations you've been avoiding, the decisions you've been putting off, the promises to yourself you keep breaking, the habits you keep feeding even though they keep draining you. You don't need a new plan. You need to take responsibility for the areas that are still under your old patterns. Because the next level of your life doesn't come from addition, it comes from alignment. It comes from fixing what's misaligned, what's been ignored, what's been left unattended. Every crack you leave unsealed today becomes a collapse you face tomorrow. You have to become the person who sees a problem and handles it, who doesn't wait for the discomfort to pass, who doesn't bury the hard stuff beneath distractions, who shows up when it's inconvenient. That's where power is built. In the hard, the messy, the uncomfortable. Because every fix is a step toward freedom. Every fix is a statement to yourself, I care enough about my life to take ownership of it. You don't get the future you dream of, you get the future you're willing to fight for. And that fight happens in the fixing. You become someone new by making the changes that you've been avoiding. And the more you fix, the more trust you build with yourself. The more clarity you gain, the more momentum you create. You start showing up with a new energy, a new focus, a new presence. You become the kind of person who walks into chaos and brings order, who faces what others run from, who doesn't need perfect timing or perfect conditions to move forward, because you've learned that waiting is weakness in disguise. Fixing is strength. You stop asking life to get easier and you start making yourself stronger. You stop expecting your goals to find you and you start preparing yourself to meet them. And you realize that your future is not about how lucky you are, how gifted you are, or how much you've been through. It's about how willing you are to fix what needs fixing right now so it doesn't control you later. The pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. Discipline is uncomfortable. It demands sacrifice, focus, and repetition. It's waking up early when your body wants more sleep. It's saying no when every part of you wants to say yes. It's doing the work when no one is watching, when there's no applause, no reward, just you and your commitment to who you said you'd be. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always feel good, but it's the price you pay now to avoid the heavier cost later. Because the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret echoes for a lifetime. Regret is the sharp sting of knowing you had the chance and didn't take it. It's the weight in your chest when you realize you talked yourself out of a better future. It's the haunting thought that if you'd just been more consistent, more courageous, more committed, everything could have been different. Regret doesn't come from what happened to you. It comes from what you didn't do when you had the chance. From the choices you avoided, the goals you abandoned, the truths you ignored. Discipline asks for discomfort now. Regret demands a lifetime of wondering what could have been. And that trade isn't worth it. You don't remember the pain of a 5 o'clock IEMO wake up once you've built something meaningful with those extra hours. You don't regret the sacrifices you made to build strength, develop skills, or master your craft when those decisions put you in a position to lead, to create, to win. But you do remember the days you chose comfort over progress. The moments you played small when you knew you were capable of more. The promises to yourself that you broke because it was easier in the moment. Discipline builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through, you reinforce your identity as someone who finishes what they start, someone who honors their word, someone who does what needs to be done, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. That's how champions are built, not through flashes of greatness, but through relentless commitment to the basics. The small, repeated actions that most people overlook because they're not exciting enough. But those actions done consistently shape a life of power. Most people want the result, but not the repetition. They want the reward, but not the routine. But the result is found in the repetition. The transformation is hidden in the routine. And the sooner you embrace discipline, the sooner you escape the grip of regret. You weren't made to live in the shadows of what could have been. You were built to rise into what's possible when you stop negotiating with your excuses, when you stop chasing motivation and start building discipline. Because discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up again and again, even when you're tired, even when it's hard, even when no one understands. That kind of consistency compounds. It becomes confidence. It becomes freedom. It becomes legacy. Regret leaves you stuck in the past. Discipline pulls you forward into your potential. One sharp decision now saves you from 1,000 soft regrets later. And the truth is, the future will demand a price either way. You'll either pay in pain now through discipline, or you'll pay in pain later through regret. One builds you, the other breaks you. One creates progress. The other leaves you with nothing but stories you wish had gone differently